This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Abstract. This paper is aimed at analyzing Mahatma Gandhi's ideas of Satyagraha, a form of non-violent resistance, and Swaraj, self-governance. In particular, the work focuses on major ethical and philosophical principles that lie at the core of Gandhi's doctrine. In addition to that, the applicability of his ideas to the problems of the international community is discussed. Gandhi. The ideas expressed by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi have always been a subject of heated sociological debate. The main reason for this is their complexity and even contradictoriness. The spiritual leader of the Indian independence movement attempted to develop a non-violent method of resistance to British rule. This form of protest was called Satyagraha. Gandhi defined it in the following way: Satyagraha is literally holding on to truth, and it means, therefore, truth force. Truth is soul or spirit. It is, therefore, known as soul force. It excludes the use of violence because man is not capable of knowing the absolute truth and, therefore, not competent to punish. This form of struggle involved civil disobedience and non-cooperation with the British government. The purpose of Satyagraha is not to destroy the enemy but to find a solution that can suit both. It is worth mentioning that his principles were once violated. The riot in Chauri Chaura left 20 British soldiers dead. Naturally, Gandhi condemned this act of violence. As has already been mentioned, Gandhi wanted India to achieve independence from Britain. However, his concept of state was rather unorthodox. He emphasized the idea that the state itself could only have detrimental effects on a human being. The word Swaraj can be translated into English as self-governance, or even anarchy. Such ideology practically eliminates the notion of the state machine. To a certain degree, Gandhi's ideas of non-violent resistance and self-government are intertwined. In his opinion, a human being cannot know all the truth. Thus, he or she does not have a right to punish other people. If we draw an analogy, this person cannot rule over other people because he is not omniscient. Gandhi was firmly convinced that any man of power might turn into a tyrant or despot. Therefore, no one can be entrusted with such a dangerous gift as power. However, the idea of society implies some points of contact and some principles that every member of the given society adheres to. Thus, there should be people or public bodies making sure that these principles are not violated. Gandhi's philosophy, according to which a person cannot know all the truth, is quite understandable, but every society tends to be hierarchical because people are not created equal. Therefore, those who stand higher on this social ladder are entrusted with power. Additionally, Gandhi's philosophy does not take into account the fact that some people prefer to be governed by someone else whom they consider competent for this task. Gandhi's philosophy can be a plausible solution to the problems that the international community is currently having. However, there is one indispensable condition: every person, not only political leaders, must understand that he or she can be mistaken. The Latin proverb "to err is human" becomes crucial in this case. Judging from the present-day situation, humankind is very far from such an approach to problem-solving. Perhaps the underlying cause of international conflicts, for instance, the Israeli-Palestinian war, is the failure to understand this simple truth. Gandhi showed that the inability to make compromises could eventually lead humanity to its own destruction. Only a great shift in public and social thought can put his ideology into practice. Naturally, Gandhi's idea of self-governance is rather controversial because the concept of state implies the presence of authority, or authorities, that can protect the rights of the citizens. Otherwise, society will collapse into a state of anarchy. However, some principles of Satyagraha and Swaraj can be successfully applied to modern American society. Gandhi could never approve of capital punishment. Even the best judge can be prejudiced or biased in his judgment. Additionally, his mistake can prove fatal. Naturally, this idea was expressed long before Gandhi, but he was the first to put it into execution. Conclusion. Now that we have discussed Mahatma Gandhi's principles of Swaraj and Satyagraha, it is quite possible for us to arrive at the conclusion that some of his ideas can be successfully used to solve the problems of the international community and society, not only the American society. However, it is necessary to adopt Gandhi's principles, especially the idea that no one can know absolute truth. Did you like this Mahatma Gandhi's Satyagraha and Swaraj concepts sample? To get more works like this one, make sure to check out the database of academic paper examples at ivpanda.com. You will find thousands of samples for all your study needs.